Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement, and I just wanted to say happy anniversary, because I'm still laughing even though it's been 3 years this week since elite strike force team leader Rudy Giuliani held a lawyer's press conference in the back parking lot of a landscaping company between Mike Johnson's least favorite video store, a body burn shop, and a dumpster. This will forever crack me up. House Speaker MAGA Mike Johnson revealed him and his son monitor their web traffic, and I have a laugh examining the ridiculousness of the Covenant Eyes software that Johnson promotes and the national security implications, plus fresh tech fails from Mike Lindell, an exclusive statement from Don Jr. By popular demand, there's a new genuine page from Lauren Boebert's book, and more, but first, this.
And it's sad that this is the United States of America, and right now, make no mistake about it, maybe through your very lenses, the entire world is watching this and they're laughing about what's going on.
Yes, Eric, the entire world is watching and laughing because it's nice to see the school bully getting pummeled. Keep crying, Eric. It's hilarious.
He also made us work very, very hard. I was on construction sites when I was 11, 12 years old, doing demo, breaking down walls, concrete, sheetrock, plumbing. I mean, stuff I literally still do for myself, these days.
So you know how a skyscraper is built. You know how
we were making minimum wage, and he put us on those sites because he cared about work ethic. There was no free time. There was no nonsense. Mm-hmm. You're going to work. If you want a bike, you're going to go work for it.
Can't think of a bigger liability than a kid on a construction site. I call BS on all of this. I'm sure he briefly visited a site with his father at one point, and he let him have a whack at a pile of scrap with a sledgehammer and convinced young Eric that's how things get made. But there's no way he was actually working on skyscrapers for bike money. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trump says he's a builder, but he hasn't laid a brick or a willing woman in his life. It is pouring MAGA tears. Thanks for coming back for my take on things. I hope you laugh along with the good people in the comments while I blast the latest and stupid and more.
A lot of conservative voices are saying, Beijing Biden's mistake, and why are they doing this and doing that, versus intent. Oil being drained out from the reserve and the 6 million illegal immigrants and all such. There's more intent there to hurt our country than mistakes.
Mike, you still there with us?
Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you. We got you.
I just don't have volume. I don't have picture now.
Okay. All right. Did you hear his question?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Brandon?
Lindell has so many problems with his phone that this should just be his profile picture. I just love that he'll be holding a telethon soon and they still can't figure out how to do a single call at what he calls the biggest broadcast place ever.
But I have to ask you this because there's been so much made about it. Vanity Fair says this. What's up with Mike Johnson's very shady seeming financial disclosures? They say you've never reported a bank account or an asset on a financial disclosure form going back to 2016. Can you clear that up for us?
Yes, look, I'm a man of modest means, okay? I was a lawyer, but I did constitutional law, and most of my career I spent in the nonprofit sector. We have 4 kids, 5 now, that are very active, and I have kids in graduate school, law school, undergraduate. We have a lot of expenses, but I can relate to everybody else. My father was a firefighter, right? I didn't grow up with great means, but I think that helps us be a better leader because we can relate to...
Can you clear that up? No, I'll talk about my kids, bills, my father fighting fires, anything to dodge the fact that I'm going to Trump-level lengths to hide my finances.
This is how Stormy Daniels described my father. It's about mushroom half his size. I'm high again. Sister's on the stand, and I wish I could have the judge ask her some questions, okay? I'm interested in questions under the penalty of perjury, okay? Things I really need to know, okay? So just ask her, have you ever thought about Don Jr. in a hot way, spied on him working out and stuff? What's the kind of cream that Eric puts on my sores? I also don't think Kushner's a big fan of my Ivanka ceiling pictures, but I'm the big bro. So I think it's important that we talk about it. It seems Guilfoyle went all in on the makeup and she loves the Botox poke in the forehead, cheeks, and chin. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to call Kim Kitara.
We probably could have called this more appropriately a war on the darkness of technology, because there are some good things with technology, of course. I mean, the Bible apps we all love. We broadcast our services, on our social media, and there's some very positive things. But
His number one positive thing to list with technology is a Bible app. I wasn't expecting this science-denying dimwit to say MRIs, stem cell research, or multi-use rockets, but Bible app? Like, no sane person with a device low on space is going to delete Netflix or YouTube to make room for that. Come on.
So Covenant Eyes is the software that we've been using a long time in our household. I first learned about it at, I think, a Promise Keepers event in the early 2000s. I think it was developed in about the year 2000. But it's the largest accountability software that there is, and there's some paperwork out there on the table that I think everybody may have picked up on the way in. If not, go get it.
I spent my teen years hiding my gym bag of VHS tapes from my father. I don't want to know nothing. I don't want to know anything about what he's watching. Nope.
It's a subscription-based, we don't make any money on this. I'm telling you, we use it, okay? I'm endorsing it because I'm a user. It's about $15 a month, $16 a month, something like that.
The reality is most people nowadays go to great lengths to not pay for this stuff on every free site they can get their frisky palms on. And Mike Johnson pays to not see it, and he does it without a bank account?
And you get up to 10 devices. And what it is accountability software. So men in a church, men's Bible study groups will do it. That's how it's presented at Promise Keepers. But they also mention, hey, when your kids become teenagers, especially if you have boys, dads, they're talking to the guys at this event, you might want to think about doing this with your sons.
If you love what I do here and you can afford to help out, throw me a buck with the PayPal link in the pinned comment or drop me a super thanks with this button. And please take 2 seconds after this video to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. These things are free and help the show grow. Thank you.
And so we've been doing that. And so what it does real simply is it has an algorithm and software. It's way above my head how it works, but it scans, you obviously opt into it, but it scans all the activity on your phone or your devices, your laptop, tablet, what have you. We do all of it. And then it sends a report to your accountability partner. So my accountability partner right now is Jack, my son, right? And so he's 17. So he and I get a report of all the things that are on our phones or all of our devices once a week. If anything objectionable comes up, your accountability partner gets an immediate notice. I'm proud to tell you my son he's got a clean slate, all right?
Yeah.
But
Jack's not jacking. At least that's what you think, Mike. He probably got an old Samsung at a garage sale to use as a burner phone so his creepy dad couldn't monitor him. Clean slate, crusty sheets. But what about his other kids? Mike says he has 5. Why isn't he interested in what they're watching? It's almost even weirder that he's latched on to Jack.
But we get a report and it says, hey, no activity of concern, and it's really sensitive. It'll pick up almost anything. It looks for keywords, search terms, and also images, and it will send your accountability partner a blurred picture of the image. And so on occasion I get one. I was just looking at the one from this week I got on Jack, and it said, this is the only one that may be questionable, and it's this blurred image of two women talking in a live screen thing, and I zoom in and I have to unblur it.
Okay, just look at the speed of him doing that. It's frightening how eager he was to get at that image. All of this is insane. Your ISP has basic controls to block sites from devices, and if you have young people, you should. But this is the House Speaker saying he uses a third-party company to scan his devices, capturing screenshots every minute. From a cybersecurity standpoint, for the everyday user, that's terrifying. But you have a very high-ranked government employee here, and that's seriously alarming. Here's the website, and it's all blue because that's the colors your balls will be. Okay, fellas, now for this picture, pretend that you only beat off with your imagination. And here's the graphic for that activity alert, if anything goes wrong. If I were still in my 20s, this is exactly the kind of thing we'd install on a friend's phone as a joke. That push notification comes through, oh look, Mark's getting handy, 9:41 on a Tuesday, and he's a bus driver.
Just doesn't make sense because there is no there. Right. This is all political. This is all AGs, DAs trying to make a name for themselves, the Fannie Willises of the world who nobody knew beforehand. And, they will have a name for themselves. Unfortunately, when we win, it will not be a good one.
Well, speaking of somebody,
I think the person trying to make a name for themselves is the random lawyer Trump hired based on looks. I shouldn't even say he hired her. He basically cast her because if he squints enough, she can pass for Melania. And it's the only way he can feel remotely close to the third wife he hasn't been near since Barron was made. For those new to the show, I'm glad you found me. Thank you. For a year, I've been reading a genuine page from Lauren Boebert's book. This really is a ton of fun. I only do it once a week, and it's been pretty wild. Let's get back to it. Combing Cruz was just one of those things that brought us closer together. He liked the feel of his back hair getting straightened out, and I liked a man without shoulders that looked as if they'd been hit with a 7-Eleven pizza. And 7-Eleven, if you're reading this, your hours are deceptive. And if I did not have a sweet spot for you since I've done some good grocery shopping and met so many wild guys in your restroom and parking lot, I would probably put a bill forward for you to change your name. Come to think of it, at one of the yard parties with Jason's prison buds, they started calling me Big Gulp Bobert. I'm sure you trademarked Big Gulp, so it's not like I'm going to use it on my campaign posters, but I just thought you'd appreciate the nod to your jumbo fountain drinks from the Ankle Monitor Squad Cell Block 4 reunion. I never had any Barbie dolls as a kid because I was only allowed to play with the sweet Stan Lane wrestling toy my mother assured me that the man I believed to be my father had sent us. Well, here I had my own little salon going while the Cuban werewolf laid on his pot belly trying to figure out the hotel room remote control so we could order the kind of film that Ted said was usually through the wall of dusty beads at the back of the video store. I giggled and nodded, even though I did not get any of his reference. Or could it be this is part of his socialist childhood in Canada? The truth is, the age gap was a strain on our relationship. Ted would call me his petit oignon and joke about the coloring book I was reading. But Ted's gentle ribbing was tame compared to my husband's approach that was more like a dog pile with Jack Daniels and wet burritos. Since I grew up eating government cheese, Jason thinks that the orange may have stained my teeth. It could also be a combo of the wine, Newports, Blue Hawaiians, and decades of avoiding store-bought toothpaste, though. There are a lot of bad ingredients in those scam products, so my mom taught me how to make your own with some baking soda, salt, and melted ice. You have to mix them together, though, and it tastes awful, but that's why I smoke a menthol after, the 100 kind, because they're longer. It was like a fairy tale. If you've enjoyed this genuine page from Low Rent Boozeburb's book, let me know in the comments and I'll see about reading another page sometime soon. I was mistaken. Clicked this thread thinking this was pro-America. MAGA Tears. He's jealous that Trump built an empire while he makes little videos in his basement with a profile that looks like it's on the Cartoon Network. Obviously some major development challenges going on here. MAGA Tears. 2 thumbs down for this loser. MAGA Tears. Here's the website. Everything on the site's blue because that's the color your balls will be. Okay, fellas, now for this picture. But you only beat off with your imagination. Come to think of it, at one of the yard parties with Jason's prison buds, they started calling me Big Gulp Gobert. Gobert. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trump says he's a builder, but he hasn't laid a brick or a willing woman in his life. It still cracks me up. Well, here I had my own little salon going while the Cuban werewolf. Well, here I had my own little salon going while the Cuban werewolf. Well, here I had my own little salon going while the Cuban werewolf laid on his pot belly trying to figure out the hotel room. Thanks so much for watching. Help me out by joining us in the comments, sharing this video with a friend, and following me on social media. I am a one-man show here, from script to screen, the editing, even the graphics. Please throw me a tip with the easy PayPal link or hit that super thanks button, and be sure to check out my mugs that go great with those MAGA Tears. I am a stand-up comedian. I've played in 35 countries, and I've toured with Jim Jefferies for nearly 10 years. I have 3 albums and a brand new EP from my opening set on Jim's latest Netflix special. You can stream these on Spotify, Apple Music, or catch them on SiriusXM. Thanks for helping me make this show possible. Life's short. Be cool, be kind, take care.